one that has endured and evolved through war and depression, prevailed over fascism and communism, and radiated hope to far distant corners of the earth. Americans believe that diversity is our greatest strength. That protest is among the highest forms of patriotism, that our fates and fortunes are bound to rise and fall together. That even when we fall short of our highest ideals, we never stop trying to build a more perfect union. When the American people go to the polls this fall, we will be choosing more than a candidate, characters on the ballot for this election. The character of our president, yes, but more than that, the character of our democracy, our society, and our leadership in the world. Welcome everybody to We the People. We are back. I have a great group of people. My friends, my buddies, my family is back to do We the People. So I'm gonna do some quick intros because we got a lot of things to talk about tonight. My brother A, how you doing, man?
Doing good.
You look good with that hat, man.
Thank you much.
Looking kind of gangster over there, you know?
Oh, laid back.
Laid back, chilling.
In my
Might
fourth.
put that mic just a little bit closer to you, but you know. There you go. See,
Getting
we should have did this before everybody, so I'm sorry, you guys.
That's okay.
That's my fault.
Everything's good, and it's going to be it is a busy week.
It's a busy week. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, last week was a busy one. Well, actually, last week was a great week, but we'll get into that one in a minute.
Yes, we will.
We also have Michelle. What's up, girl?
Hey, how are you doing?
Got us all pumped up with a little bit of buzz water.
Yes.
Tastes good, though.
Mimosas are great.
So you here with your smile.
Sunday fun day.
Fun, there it is.
Sunday
fun
fun day.
And we have Miss Sonia.
Hello. I have to give a shout out to my Sarah,
There you go.
Kamala.
That's right.
Sound?
AKA.
That's right.
AKA.
Shout out to my Sarah. Yes.
Well, speaking of Kamala, let's get right into it talking about this DNC convention last week. Okay. Did all of you guys get a chance to watch?
Yes.
All 4 days?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you guys. I want to know. Starting with you, Aya, what was your biggest takeaway?
My biggest takeaway is how unified the party was.
Okay.
They had the moderate wing, which is normally the DNC, Joe Biden's wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
They had the progressives get on board with Bernie Sanders, AOC,
Right.
and they brought in Republicans who
That was day one, wasn't it?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, and a little bit of day two, but
Yeah.
it proves that a long-time Republicans are scared,
Okay.
and they know, what's going on in the country. Even though they probably created some of this mess,
Right.
they need to bring it back, to
Okay.
the old ways. At least that's how the Republicans feel. The
Right.
progressives, they want to progress. And,
Well, that's probably why they're
but my biggest
progressive.
my biggest takeaway was unity.
Yep.
The coalition under the Big Ten.
Okay. And Michelle, what was your biggest takeaway?
I would agree with Aya, but I'm going to take it one step forward. One thing that every single speaker brought up was the voting process and making sure that people knew how to vote. And, usually it's the Republicans that have sound bites and they say the same thing no matter what. It's like they all got a memo.
Got a message.
It's like this time around, all the Democrats, everyone that spoke got the memo.
Right.
This is how you vote. Get registered.
That's right. That
Get
was a good message.
your
too.
mail-in ballot, and nobody missed that message.
That's right. Sonia,
Yes.
what was your biggest takeaway?
My biggest takeaway was the emphasis on the participation of women, primarily with
Yeah.
each of the hosts
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
each night.
Right.
Each one of those women, they were absolutely phenomenal.
They were.
And in different ways.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just very smart women of Hollywood.
Right.
And so I was really appreciative of that. And then with the emphasis on Kamala, I believe that with her being there as a major member of the party, that now women's issues will be at the forefront.
And she campaigns on that. So, we can see a lot coming out of this, this new administration with her taking a lead on that. And then, of course, with the things that Biden has done over the years for women, and especially when it came to violence against women and stuff like that. He signed that bill in the 90s, right?
Yes, correct.
My biggest takeaway was, and kind of everything you guys have mentioned, but I think for me it was the diversity that it showed. And there's a lot of diversity, especially when it's doing a roll call. I thought that was great. That was
so
a great.
cool.
That was amazing.
Roll calls be taking forever. I'm like, man, okay, they're just from Arkansas.
Mr. Calamari.
Right. It's great. That was Rhode Island, right?
Yeah, Rhode Island, yeah.
I'm like, really?
Yeah.
And what do you have in that thing? It was like some ketchup on it, something like something.
He had some cocktail sauce.
Yeah, I'm like-
All right.
He was
I
ready
bet
to
his
serve
sales
it
are
up,
up.
you know?
So that's going to be the new state nickname now.
Yeah, Rhode
Yeah.
Island calamari, the fighting calamari.
Yeah, but I thought the diversity was great, and I love the roll call. Somebody was even whispering that they might do this every year, but I mean, it was to me that was a great performance. There was some technical issues, you know. We being in broadcasting too, we kind of spot things when they go wrong like that. But I'm saying it was really good. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
There's, you know, as much as we, you know, commend them for the diversity, I was speaking in the show the other week. We were talking about how the Muslim voice
Right.
wasn't that prominent
Right.
Yeah.
in this week, and I don't know if it was intentional or they
Right.
just didn't get to it. But they did constantly mention
Mm-hmm.
the Muslim community,
Yeah.
how we still need to continue to engage. But I feel that was the only thing that was a drawback.
The folks to me that had a message delivered well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everyone from Nancy to Hillary, you know, of course, Barack, Michelle, you know, even Bill. Bill's message was quiet. It wasn't as, you know, he can bring a little bit of fire sometimes.
Yeah.
But his message was calming and it was quiet and it was like a reminder that,
Yeah.
you know, I even heard someone say to me over the weekend that they felt that just hearing Barack again, you know, just took us back to a place. I think he mentioned it again
Yeah.
before the show. It does take you back. Like, this is what we've been listening for almost 4 years. Let me ask you guys some questions because there were some things that came up during the convention that were mentioned. And, you know, going to this thing about voting. What do you think that in this new administration, because we know there's going to be a new one, which is pretty much hands down. I'm pretty convinced that it will be. You just got to go through this stuff.
I'm
Do
not
you-
there yet, but go ahead.
You're not there yet? You're not convinced yet?
Not there yet.
I'm still nervous.
We still haven't had our
So
October surprise.
Now,
yet.
nervous doesn't mean you're not convinced. It just means that it's going to happen. I mean, I'm nervous, but I'm almost convinced.
You
I
know,
was convinced
I
a long
just
time
remember
ago.
how disappointed I was 4 years ago, and I am nervous that there is an iceberg and that there's a bunch of Trumpers on the bottom of it, and they're all going to go out and vote.
Now, we also, you know, going back to Clinton, we shouldn't say shoulda, coulda, woulda, but
Right.
but like I said, October surprise is still up in grabs.
And we can't get complacent.
Right.
See, you know, honestly, I've been feeling this way since like June. You know what I'm saying?
That it's
When
a
I
done
knew
deal?
that that Democrats going to win. You know, the only thing I'm concerned about is the Senate. That's the only thing I'm concerned with. I'm almost convinced that, you know, Trump is going to be out. Regardless of whatever tactics that the Republicans come up with and him and his cronies, it's just too much. I think the people have woken up. I think they slept in 2016. They didn't show up at the polls. And those folks who didn't show up will show up this time, regardless of how much trouble is. And I think because there are issues trying to get to the polls, all this talk about post office and all this stuff, people are going to come out in droves. They are not going to miss this one. So that alone, I think, is going to be one decided before most of those ballots come back anyway. I really think it's going to be decided. And I'm thinking there's going to be a decision it's Tuesday, probably by no later than Friday of the same week. It's going to be announced. But I know it's going to be a projection that night.
Well, I think the Senate's going to turn more than Trump personally. I mean,
Turn against Trump?
yeah, I think
Okay.
it's going to turn Democrat.
I think I think anyone that's going to go out and vote against Trump is going to vote against the whole thing.
I
Yep.
think so
I think
too.
if they get out there and they vote for Biden, they're just going to go straight Democrat.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Straight down the party.
See, I'm thinking it might just be, I mean, I agree, but I also think that it's a possibility they will do what the Democrats did in 2016. They just won't show up because they may not like nobody on the Democratic side, so they just won't show up. I just won't vote this year. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking. That's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? But I think that, you know, I feel in my heart that, you know, Biden and Harris is going to win this election.
I think that the votes will be there. I think that people will vote for them, but I think there's going to be so much chaos in the process that it's not going to be clear in the very beginning who the winner is. We're going to end up with another
2000.
Exactly. I was about
Yeah.
to say Gore and.
So you think it's going to come down
W.
to Bush state?
And
Yeah.
Bush.
Yeah.
If
Yes.
it's not extremely definitive,
Correct.
if he doesn't blow it out of the water, Trump's going to hold on and he's going to fight.
That's correct. We're going to court.
Yeah, because I think he knows he might have jail on the outside.
He's going to
of the
have
White
jail
House.
if he gets
Oh,
out.
He's going to be like Van. He's going to have
He's
some
fighting for
indictments.
his life.
Yeah.
He's
I mean,
fighting for his life.
So do you guys feel, okay, how confident are you guys with, now you guys are not confident, how confident are you guys in what Biden and Kamala can do
Like if they get elected, or
if they get elected? when they get elected. We got to claim it, bro.
Astronomical. It's a turning point because they have a lot of people to answer to this time around.
Absolutely.
You know, before there was in past cycles, people were just happy for them to be in office. You know, with Bill Clinton, they were just happy for him to come in,
Right.
with the excitement, the saxophone, everything pumping. This year, like,
Saxophone.
Black president.
This year, they have all these wings making a decision, and the progressive wing,
Right.
they're not waiting. Like once they say Joe Biden's the winner, okay, we want this, and if this doesn't come in the first 30 days,
Right.
Right.
oh, they're gonna raise hell.
Yeah.
They're gonna raise hell.
Their influence is already apparent.
Yes.
And I think the way that we're going to see that is in the selection of the cabinet members.
Yes.
We'll
Yeah.
know exactly, what the priorities are
Right.
and what the plans are based upon who they pick
Okay.
for those key positions.
So based on, that's a good segue to my next question.
But I think the first thing they're gonna probably pull is voting rights. I think that's number one.
It has to be.
Yeah.
You think? See, I know voting rights is going to be something they're going to push in the first 100 days. I didn't see that was the first thing.
Are you thinking COVID?
Yes, it would have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's
That's the obvious,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the biggest thing. And then the second, healthcare. And then simultaneously with voting rights.
Voting rights.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking all this within the first 100 days.
Right.
And I think that with Nancy and Schumer, when he takes over the Senate, they're going to be working on legislations on who can and cannot be on the ballot for president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And working out that structure. Because you can't do that without taking care of voting rights too, because
Right.
that kind of all ties in together.
I
Right.
think
But that's
there's
just
going to
my
be a
opinion.
lot of presidential type issues that they will address.
Trump has exposed a lot.
God,
Yeah.
yes, he has.
Yes, he has.
All of our
Yes.
weak points.
Right.
All of the things that you assume no one would ever try,
Yes.
he has tried. And
Right.
now we've got to have legislature to
Yep.
prevent that.
And look at the
And-
things that happened after Nixon. How they made adjustments in legislation, about presidential power and stuff like that. It even happened with, was it Bush?
Yeah.
About the
with-
presidential powers?
yeah. The PEAD, the PED, presidential.
Papers.
No.
Yeah.
Was it the papers? PEAD? Y'all mentioned that before.
Yeah, it was
it
like
was-
the presidential powers, and so it's a whole lot more presidential, and it's
Okay.
kind of secretive. Nobody really knows what they
That's
have
right.
the power to do.
That's right. So someone can look that up and tell the people what that means. I know we talked about it before, but yeah, you're absolutely right. That's I just think those type of things are going to be on the front of the agenda.
Yeah.
For the first 100 days.
Uh-huh.
COVID is definitely going to be top priority.
Yes.
So let me ask you guys this individually, based on Trump just got his $300 unemployment thing passed, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there was anything in it for education, right? I think there was something in there for people in housing. I'm not sure. But do you guys think that
There's
is
nothing
going
in
to
housing.
nothing in housing?
Nothing in housing. They were going to look into it. That's the.
Okay.
That was it. He promised to look into
yeah.
it.
There's
Okay.
nothing.
So do you guys think that is going to give him some type of edge when it comes to this election?
Trump?
Yes. With this new stimulus, his executive order.
Oh, you mean the payoff? Yes,
You think it will?
because it gives the appearance of that he's doing something.
You think he's going to flip some Democrats?
No,
Right.
no.
Checks have not hit mailboxes.
They-
Sure have.
Yeah, they have. Yeah,
Right. You're
yeah.
right.
And so my answer to
Nothing's
that is
been
no.
deposited yet.
No.
Okay. See, I don't think so either.
Until the checks hit the mailboxes.
When the check is in the mail.
When the check is in the mail, then maybe, but no.
Now, Texas, Abbott just signed on, and so those folks will be getting it actually the next time they file.
Yes. So,
So-
it comes into effect today,
Right,
and it's going to be backdated to the 1st.
right. So that's really, they only give them 3 weeks.
Yeah,
So all they're going to get is that whole backdated thing,
which is $900.
$900 on top of whatever they're getting,
Yeah,
But it's something.
something.
But I was reading today or yesterday, they were saying something about that. A lot of people were saying that $600 came in handy.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's
a
making a
lot of
huge
people.
difference this month. So we also know that there's going to be a lot of evictions
Right.
coming up early September.
And that's one thing that he didn't do. All they're going to do is think about it.
Right, they didn't do anything about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's 2 indicators to see that there's trouble on the broom.
Right.
It's how people can't pay their car note,
Right.
and their house
The
note.
mortgages.
Yeah.
House notes.
If they're like 9 months behind, because that's you know,
9 months for a house, even that's.
I mean, for a car.
Oh,
Like,
9 months for a car?
yeah. Surprisingly, they give some leeway. You might probably have to check.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Shit,
But-
how you gonna pay that back?
yeah, exactly. But when you have people delinquent like that, that's like the main indicator that we're in trouble.
Right.
How could that tip the scales? I mean, okay, here are a lot of people, thousands of people, we're
Yeah.
assuming, gonna lose their vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
We know probably some gonna lose houses. Hopefully they can hold on to the house because, mortgage companies are a little more lenient than apartment rentals.
Yeah.
Do you think that's gonna impact the economy when it comes to credit? You got so many people with their credit, they can't, because this country is built on credit.
Yeah.
So you think that's gonna impact maybe some of the banks maybe?
Yeah. They can't. They
Like they
can't.
didn't 08?
They can't lend to nobody.
Right.
I mean,
Well, they can change the structure and give it to people, second chance, car loans.
when does a bank do that?
Well,
I mean,
That's what got us into trouble.
the only
In the first place.
the only people who are gonna make a lot of money is payday loans.
right, right.
And
That's
Yeah,
what's gonna
because
happen.
did Trump, did he reverse? Because didn't Obama have legislation or something against payday loans?
Yeah.
oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
did Trump do away
got
with
it,
that
yeah.
too?
With the help of Mick Mulvaney, yes.
Okay, so
that-
yeah, then they're ready to
That was
do
in the
business
first
there.
They're gonna make a killing though.
Yeah,
People gonna be lying about the door trying to get a payday loan.
they
Yeah.
are, and only in certain neighborhoods.
Right.
Yep.
Well, Black and Latino neighborhoods.
Exactly.
Pretty
Mhm.
much.
Yep.
People making less than 25,000 a year, I guess.
And
Households.
and the people gonna be rich as the people's on those opportunity zones.
Okay, let's touch on that real quick.
Okay.
Tell the people again, what are opportunity zones? We talked about this several shows back, but what are
Yes.
opportunity zones?
Opportunity zones are neighborhoods or areas across the country where an investor can invest in a neighborhood with hold their money, reinvest to that area, or getting their money back with, without paying any taxes. So it sort of encourages people with money to invest in places that are dilapidated and bring it back up to.
That's part of gentrification, right?
It could lead to that.
I can't see how it couldn't.
I think it depends on who they're selling to. So if they're selling it to people that are actually from that neighborhood, that's one thing. But if they're selling it to investors, then that's when the flipping starts, and that's when they start upgrading the property to the point where the people that live there right now can't afford
Can't
to
afford it.
Like
buy.
when Starbucks
Yeah.
moves in.
Yeah,
Like when
yeah.
okay,
Then you
okay,
know
yeah.
what's
Then you
coming.
know.
So I don't know if I trust that.
I know I
honestly,
don't.
I don't.
I mean, because I grew up in a pretty modest neighborhood,
Yeah.
pretty poor, modest, So I'm thinking, okay, if I had enough money, I probably would want to invest in that neighborhood, at least in the school, in that area, right? And then, of course, with that, property values start to look more attractive to outside buyers.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, look, I got to make some of that money back. It's in some type of, even though this is my home, I love the neighborhood. So the only way I can make some of that money back is to sell it to people who have money that's going to turn it and flip it and make their value increase. So I can't see, and I'm speaking for myself, I probably don't speak for most people, I guess, I don't know. But I'm thinking that's what I would do because, even though I'm contributing, but I'm not
But what about rental?
Renters,
It's something to manage.
it's something to manage, but okay, maybe I can buy a couple buildings that I know that's been worn down and stuff like that. The ones that got the gates around them, the wood on the windows. Maybe flip those. But the thing is, if I'm gonna put that much type of money into it, I'm gonna be a little skeptical about who's moving back in
Yep.
because the neighborhood went down for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, for a lot of reasons, slum landlords and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But I need to know these people are going to take care of it. And you don't guarantee that, but people who have a certain credit worthiness tend to take care of things better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to change.
And a part of the rule is you're supposed to keep your money there for at least 5 years. So.
Oh, hell. I mean, no. So I get it. I get it. All right. Going back to the convention for a second. Some of the okay, let me ask you guys. Who do you guys think had the best speech? And if you want to go day by day or individuals, which ones? Because I think that majority, like I said in the beginning, a lot of them had, they were on point with everything. I still like my new president, my current president. I love her, man.
Yeah, he
Talking
laid it
about
out.
Nancy's my president. I've been saying that for a long time.
President Nancy.
Oh,
Nancy's been my president since Trump got in office. I figured they got equal power, so I feel like that's my president. Trisha will be laughing. She knows that's what I've been saying. Yeah, that's my president. So which speaker stood out the most to you guys?
Of course, Michelle knocked out the box. That's a given. But for me, my favorite speaker was Hillary.
Yeah.
She internalized what happened.
Sure did.
She made it real and full of common sense. And she, the fact that she said, I meant him to do well.
Right.
That in itself says, she cares about the country.
Right.
Yeah.
You're talking about a career politician who
got her start doing the Nixon impeachment.
Yes.
She was an investigator.
Yes. Who played her role all these years.
Yep.
And to have it taken away from her and still.
She was the most qualified person for the job.
Ever.
She still
Ever.
is the most
Yes.
qualified
Even more
person.
than Biden now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even more than Clinton, because Bill Clinton, the other
Right.
Clinton, she was the smarter of the
Okay.
two. I will always believe that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But that was my favorite. That was my favorite speech because she was real with it.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I was being sold a bunch of goods
Right.
with her.
Right. What about you, Sonia?
Obama.
Obama?
My
Okay.
Which
president.
one?
Your favorite president?
Barack.
Was there anything in particular he said?
I think it was just his attitude. I've never seen him with that much fire, in terms of speaking truth to power.
Right.
Yeah.
In terms of just, the inabilities of the orange man, in the White House. So, I just,
That's funny.
yeah, he just,
Yeah.
I
He did it, huh?
He did.
He had
He's
he
amazing.
had Article 1 behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, now
Yes.
that was the other thing
Yeah.
that was
Yes.
so amazing to me. Because I looked at that and I thought,
He was in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia.
absolutely,
Where they
that
wrote
was
the Constitution.
intentional.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
very intentional.
Yeah.
Well,
and I
his-
don't know how many people caught that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
his background is
The
constitutional
law.
law.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was
So,
perfect. It was
absolutely.
very presidential.
It
Yeah.
was very presidential.
It was.
So, Michelle?
I'm gonna go for the other Obama. I think that she set the tone.
Michelle? Michelle?
Michelle. I think she let us know what was coming for the rest of the week.
Something in her heart.
It was, yeah, and that she dealt. It was more of a feelings thing.
Yeah.
And
like
and
me
I
too.
think she went into it, with the knowledge that not everybody is into the politics and the policies and all of that.
Right.
So I think her speech was a lot more raw, and it just laid it all out on the table that
Yeah.
Trump is not the guy. He is not capable. We wanted him to succeed, and he didn't. He can't do it.
Right.
And, we need Joe Biden. And we
Yeah.
know Joe Biden. You all know Joe Biden.
Yeah.
We know what we're getting here.
Yeah.
And I liked her best just because she set the stage.
I was just so surprised when, Barack said, he can't do it.
Yeah.
Right.
He cannot
Right.
do this.
He's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he
He's
would
not
grow
capable.
into it, and
Yeah,
he
but
didn't.
But he can't.
Yeah.
He even said, going back to your point, he
Yeah.
said, now you brought it back to my memory. He said, this guy not even trying to use the power of the office to do the right thing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He hadn't even attempted. He just but I think it was Hillary, in my opinion. To me, it's just, and, reason would cap it off for me because I heard her do an interview the next morning. I think it was on MSNBC. And it was raw. So the speech was a speech, right? But so that's scripted, they got some writers and she went back and critiqued it. And, okay, that's me. Yeah, that's not me. Take that out. It was scripted, but it was what she said the next day, which was kind of a repeat of some of the stuff she said, but it was without a script. And hearing her unscripted, I heard her do an interview on what's the guy that has the white guy that has his radio station and I can't, tall white guy, dark hair. Howard Stern. Thank you.
Oh, she was on Stern?
Oh yeah, it's like a 2-hour interview.
Yeah, he loves
It
her.
was raw.
Really?
Sir.
Really?
It was raw,
have to
and just
tune
to
into
hear her talk freely, and it just, she ain't got to really process. It's right there in front of her in her head, and she comes off very eloquent, and it's soothing. It's like, okay, this woman knows what she's talking about. You know she's being honest. And in that interview, she talked about, you know, how she met her husband. When she started talking about how she met, her face just lit up. You can see the love she has in her heart for her husband. So it was unscripted. So it was Hillary for me.
That's a ride or die for real.
I mean, you know.
Right.
I mean, but you know, that's the thing about Leo men. We just tend to, we bring confusion, a lot of chaos. But, you know, we gotta have something bad about us. Because in that case, without that, we'd be perfect. Yeah, we'd be perfect without that, you know. But, okay, so let's move on a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about.
Before you go.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
There was 2 other speeches I just wanted
Okay.
to interject on that came out to me. Elizabeth Warren's,
Yes.
because she always on point.
Yeah.
Plus the little subtle Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I
the
saw that.
blogs.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yes, and we can't forget that Biden had a solid 18-minute speech.
Yes.
You know, it wasn't on details, but he just laid it out.
Yeah.
You know,
They did.
This is what we need in our country, and we can all do it together.
So, speaking of Biden,
Uh-huh.
Biden proposed a tax increase of 3.1 to 3.8 trillion.
Mm-hmm.
You think he spoke too soon?
No.
No.
You don't think it's going to distract some, well, maybe some rich voters, but no, because a lot of people,
No,
Democrats
because
feel that
they-
they
I
need to be
think we
taxed.
all know we got to pay the piper for
Yeah.
everything that's going on right now.
Yeah.
We all know we're in the hole.
Yeah, he's proposing that for the next 10 years. That's a lot of damn money.
Well, look. He says it from experience. Look at the bailout.
Well, yeah.
That was what, 2 trillion?
No, it's more than that.
Yeah.
When it's all said and done, it's going to be a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Because I think that he's going to look heavily at Kamala's proposal
Yeah.
for $2,000 a month, for the next several months.
You mean
plus
UBI?
12. Well, her and Bernie Sanders and some other senator had proposed a bill to give everyone, all of us, $12,000, which is prorated back to when it started in March, plus $2,000 a month and a couple months beyond the coronavirus. So that's a lot of money.
I'll sign up for that.
I mean, you should be able to get it, bro.
I'll take it.
As long as you got your social security number, you straight. You ain't got no legal papers, No, but see, I think that's gonna be heavily looked at. Even Biden may come back and say, "Well, let's not do 2,000, do 1,000," almost matching with Yang said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel that that the common person today, especially us black folks, because let me scratch that because I want to ask that question. I want to ask in a different way. How do you guys feel about some of those same people that keep saying that the vote don't matter, it doesn't count? So because you guys are, I call you SMEs, subject matter experts, because you are engaged in politics and you guys follow politics, you guys pretty much live politics. How would you approach someone that came to you and said, why are you worried about voting? It's a waste of time. It ain't gonna matter anyway. They're gonna put in who they want anyway. What would you say, Nisha?
I don't know if I'm the right person to ask. I don't have a lot of patience for it. I got to be honest.
You'd be like, don't vote. Bye. Your fault.
I might try, but my basic saying is, if you don't vote, you really don't have anything to complain about if you don't like how things are going. And I know that's not the right answer. That's not the answer that's going to convince someone to vote.
Right.
I know that my shortcoming is I don't have the patience.
Yeah.
So.
But something with We the People, before I go to Sonia real quick, with We the People, us being on this show, I think we're starting to feel a sense of obligation. So our answer may be a little different when we approach it.
Yeah.
We've been touching on this politics thing on a little personal level. Okay, Sonia.
Okay. I had this fight today on Facebook. If our vote didn't count, why would they be working so hard
To keep us from having it.
it?
Yes, that's my argument.
So that's my argument. And then my second argument, because the whole argument was about, well, the people who have been nominated are not representing us. They don't have our concerns at the top of the platform.
Right.
The Democrats have been giving us, this same speech, for years and years, and they've never represented us. My response to them was this: if the house is burning, is now the time to argue about the brand of the water hose that you're going to use?
Right.
Let's put the fire out.
Oh, who started the fire?
Right. Or who
Right.
started the fire?
Right.
Let's put out the
Yeah.
fire, and then once we put out the fire, then we've got the collective ear
Right.
of those people who put out the fire. Then we can start making our
Okay.
demands. Then we can put together our platform. Then we can talk about our needs. Let's take care of, what's important first. Let's get in the damn White House.
That's what I said. Let's just vote them in and see what happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, now I agree with you about it's our responsibility for some people who are involved in it. But my first question, before I answer their complaints, is where did you get that information from?
Right.
So I got to know where they're coming from, either from experience or something they heard about from growing up. Then I can answer them properly
Right.
by telling them, no, this ain't the right way.
Right.
And tell them, first acknowledge their frustrations.
Right.
But then I will tell them, this is why we need to do this, and this is how this relates to you.
Right.
Because it's always going to be, what about me? What about me?
Right.
They ain't worried about
And there's
everybody
nothing
else.
wrong with that, I don't
Yeah.
think. Right.
So that's my question. I'll tell them this is about you because of this, based on what I heard from where they're coming from. Because I take it like this. Not everybody has the same information.
Right.
In fact, they're given wrong information
Most of the time.
consistently, and it's preyed on their emotions.
Right.
And so I got to take that emotion out. I'll kill that emotion by finding out where they get this.
And I bet you
Profit.
no one person who's feeling that way can give you one source of information where they got it. It's multiple places.
Yeah.
But it's coming from the same type of places.
Right.
People they walk with every day, people they talk to every day on their job, at church, people in the neighborhood. It's those people. And, and I'm glad you guys answered those questions because that's going to segue to something we were kind of talking about before the show. Going back to Kamala. Why is it that so many people, black people, are against her? Why do you guys feel that way? Because I know there's some viewers now that are watching us. So having this discussion, so be forthright.
I think what I am hearing mostly
Yeah.
is about her incarcerating so many black males, and going back to her time as AG. And I can't agree with that. I mean,
Well, all they know is that.
yeah, that's
And she did.
and
She
that's
did
what
a good job at it,
And
too.
that's what and it's because they heard it. It's people that aren't even from California that
Right.
really don't even
Right.
know
Yeah,
her
matter of fact,
actual record.
I don't know any of those people who are from California.
And you know what? And just
Yeah.
before you continue, I'm just going to let people know. Remember, we got this Russian disinformation.
Yep.
Yeah.
The blacktivists
We did talk about
was
that.
a Russian thing.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, it preys on people's emotions,
Yep.
and that what you said,
Yep.
that's the information they got. I'm sorry, go on.
Oh, well, I can't sit with that. Part of the reason why is because, she was doing her job, which is to prosecute.
Right.
And when you talk about 3 strikes, et cetera, it wasn't just something that Clinton put out there. It wasn't just something that Biden put out there. It's something that us black folks also stood behind.
And the fact that it was a federal law.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I remember when it first came out, I was pretty young, but I do remember how everyone I knew
remember.
in my circle, in my family circle, was for it.
I wouldn't
Get the criminals off the street, stop this, stop that. And everyone was my color. So,
Wow.
she was doing her job.
Yeah.
Speaking of color, Sonia,
Yes.
why are your people talking bad about Kamala?
Okay, my people.
Well,
Must be
I've heard.
deltas.
I've heard a couple of
Right.
things, and we can't, discount the whole conversation about her being black.
right.
And her mixed identity. And
Okay.
so that seems to be a problem with a lot of people. And as black people, we have issues with color
Always have.
and always
Actually,
have.
the whole country does.
The whole country
Yeah.
does, but our issues with color are very different. They're a little bit more subtle. We are into colorism.
Yes.
Right.
And a lot of that we know is historical.
Right.
We know where it comes from. We
Right.
know that the light skinned blacks were in the master's
I'm hearing
house
it every day. Every day I
Right.
hear it. Every day.
And, and the darker skin, they were in the fields. And so we have lived with that, and it's part of our DNA. And it's unfortunate
Yep.
that it's part of it, but it is part of it, and it is a discussion that we need to have and that we need to talk about.
Yep. Hey, same question, sir. Your people.
Well, I think she covered it, but there's also a disconnect between first generations and first generation people of color, opposed to people who've been in the country generations.
Right.
You know, there's a there's a feel that, you know, you're getting the walk up to the front door while we've been trying to get to the street.
Right.
And so there's a sort of resentment towards that.
Interesting.
You know, at least that's what I feel.
You know, I agree with you guys, but I have a kind of a slightly different take on it. I think that the color is just the surface. I think in my opinion, the underlying issue is how people view themselves. And here's a woman who has pushed herself through the ranks. You know, she's educated herself. She's won elections, you know, and she happened to have married a white guy. So I think it's more envy, in my opinion, with black people, because they don't want to see, I mean, they had issues with Obama at first. So they realized that, okay, and still some of them still do. I hear some black people say, he ain't doing it for us, you know?
Yeah.
And it's the same people that's complaining about Kamala. You know, here are people, I mean, we've been fighting for achievement since we've been on this land, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, quite a few of us now have broken through the ranks and have risen to levels of prominence. And here's this woman, you know, and the way she tells her story, I mean, I can really relate to that. Her family, her husband, I mean, her mom and dad met each other in 60, you know, and in 66, 67, she's in a stroller going to protest as both of them were fighting, you know, which is kind of interesting, kind of similar to how Barack and Michelle got together. You know, they were fighting for things in Chicago at that law firm, but Barack was more, you know, on the ground. But this is how they came together, and look what happened. I think it's more about their own personal insecurity, in my opinion. I think that black people just sometimes have a problem with other black people make it, and they haven't.
You mean crabs in a barrel?
Well, obviously they couldn't keep them down. You know what I'm saying? They broke through. They held on and said, get off me, get off me. So that's what I think. I think that it's about our own security, because black people tend to hate black people. And it's a shame.
You know, that's a whole show topic.
Have to be one in a couple
I
minutes.
hate you, black bastard. You know that?
What happened when you guys are out? No, I was kidding. We'll do a solo show. I'll say, hey, you know, all my life I've been light skinned. So, you know, it's true. You know, there's no line there. But you know, I think that I think this is sad. And you're right. That should be a show topic. We should actually talk about that, because it's getting to the heart of the problem. You know, and I don't think that we should dance around anymore. I think that with We the People, we can talk about politics in a very direct way, whether people disagree or not. Matter of fact, they should disagree. And during that time when you're disagreeing, we want you guys to want to call us and tell us why you disagree. But, you know, yes, sir.
It just hit me. Just within the Black Republicans, there was a podcast. I think it was called Code Switch Podcast, NPR podcast.
I think I heard that before.
Yeah, they did a show based on Black Republicans. There was two factions of Black Republicans. Both factions hate each other.
Wow.
It's the Black Republicans who are trying to bring more Black people in, naturally, like, you know, Martin Luther King and all that, and the other ones who want to appeal to white people. And they both hate each other. They consider them both tokens or whatever, not down for the cause.
Wow.
So that's another level of hate.
Don't we see that in day to day with people? You know, who blacks that just don't like other blacks. Period. Yeah. I mean, I kind
they
of
see him as competition because they feel like, oh my goodness, you're going to take my spot, and instead of
we need more spots.
Yeah, instead of
creating a spot.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather take the easy route. I'll put you down, then maybe I'll get recognized and moved in, which is so shallow. It's extremely shallow to me. And it's ignorant. And we're playing the same games that white folks has played on us. And that type of small thinking is what keeps us behind. And I'm not saying, okay, that's a whole different story too. There's some of why we're behind. There's a lot of reasons for that. I guess that could be kind of political too, isn't it?
Yeah.
We can start some controversy.
Yeah, but, you know, but doesn't that go into like talking about how we portray ourselves to the media, or the media does to us?
I think it starts with how we portray ourselves, and they'll pick up on it.
Yeah.
Because it has to start there. Yeah. The media realize, hey, this is a story here. Let's go talk about it. Let's have a conversation. You know, just yesterday, me, Patricia, Kadria, we was coming to get something to eat. We was coming back here. And right around the corner from here, there's a house that has some Trump stickers in it. Trump, why you laugh? She laughed. Man, I got Kadria fired up. She's 15 years old. She is fired up. I said, we should go over there and knock on their door. She was like, yeah. Look, her, the two Pisces in the back seat. No, don't do that. I said, nah. Kadria's like, yeah, let's go do that. She was all for it. She was excited. I said, well, we're going to knock on the door and just be calm.
Tell the rest of the story.
What? Would I miss something? You can put on your mic. Did I miss something?
Yes. What the part he's not telling you is they were going to take down the Trump signs.
No, she was. I wasn't.
And then go to the door to talk to the people and ask questions. But she wanted to take the signs.
I wasn't going to let her do that.
In Open
Yeah,
Carry,
that's
Texas.
good. Yeah.
But,
Right.
Yes, and he wanted to go to the door and talk to them and ask them why they Trump supporters.
See,
We're part of the media. Look, we're media, right? So my thing is,
they don't look below the neck.
well, I'm going to point it out.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I'm part of the media.
You should have had your microphone with you.
Right.
Inquiring
Well, I would have used
minds.
my phone. Say I'm
No,
recording
we
this.
were
Do you
in
mind
the
recording it?
We were driving in the street,
And I stopped.
He stopped the car in the middle of the street.
I was like, because she got me going, man. I was fired up. I'm like, she's an ex-politician in Sway. You ever see her
Yes.
show?
Yeah.
She's definitely, she get her IQ, her politics IQ up.
yeah.
That girl gonna be powerful. She could do law. She could. But so it was a radical moment that I was having, but I thought it was a powerful moment for me because I'm like I think that, like I said, we could probably have some of the opposition here, as long as they don't. I mean, I can't bring KKK in here, but if they are, okay, fine. But we're talking politics, and I think that I would love to just find out why they think the way they think, why they feel the way they feel, and if they claim to be patriotic, why would you support a president that has worked with a foreign adversary to rig our election? So how does that make you patriotic? And then here's a person, if you're a law-abiding citizen, now come on, this guy's broke many laws. He was impeached because of that, for breaking laws. So how can you support someone like that? So that makes me wonder, who are you and who are you trying to impersonate? Because you're not being a patriot. You're not being a patriot at all. You're just coming up with something that you appeared that someone is appealing to your own natural nature. And now, but the good thing about it is that they got the sign on the door. They got the sign on the yard. So now we know who you are. Mm-hmm. And when I see a Trump sign, unfortunately, when I see that on the bumper sticker, somebody's window of the car, I'm saying, okay, now I know how you are. Because you pretty much just told who you are by having that Trump sign up. But then I tried to reverse it and say, okay, if that Republican see a Democratic sign, they might be thinking the same thing.
Who do they think we are?
Bunch of nigger lovers. Hate to use that word, but it's true. Nigger lovers, and if you're white,
They
No,
call
I
us-
think
they
more
call us
communists.
Yeah,
I
looking
think
down
more
on
communists.
them.
Yeah, they call us elitists. They say that we're educated elitists.
well,
That's
it's
the way they
true.
look at us.
I mean, most of the, and you probably can agree with this, but most of the good policies that's come out over decades has been, well, hold up. It was been the Democratic putting out the policies, and some of those, Barack Obama came out with Republican policies.
Yeah.
He just added a little twist to it, which for that particular time.
Yeah.
But most of those policies came up, but he presented it. Republicans didn't present them. And a lot of times they didn't present them in the right way.
Yeah.
They only appealed to people who had the money and the finance and stuff. People can put them in office, So I want to jump to something that's kind of old news now.
I'll give Nixon the EPA though. I'll give him the EPA.
Well, yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And he was the first president to go to China. So I mean, he was just very insecure. He's a very insecure president.
Yes.
And because it's funny because you say that when Clinton was about to go through all his stuff, all his turmoil, his impeachment process, he said, I'm not going to do what Nixon did. Nixon bailed out. Nixon was like, funk that. I'm fighting this because y'all Republicans are trying to do this because of boom, 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 boom. Now, politics that happens between the Senate and the House and then the Democrats and Republicans, right? Everybody's bargaining. So it's something that Nancy said a little while ago when they were trying to do the stimulus thing. They're trying to negotiate the stimulus package, right? And she was saying that if the Senate doesn't do this, they're going to really be sorry. So I started thinking, well, how could she threaten them? What could she do to threaten them? Because she knows that with her power, the Senate is going to try to push some agendas and she can just say no.
Yeah.
Because nothing gets passed without either one. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I'm like, okay. So why is it that it appears that the Senate is winning? Is it because they're banking on the Democrats to bow down and give in? Because we are appeasers? What do you guys think? Matter of fact, let's ask everybody. Michelle, what do you think about that?
I think they're underestimating Nancy Pelosi.
Okay. She's had 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, she's typically been getting what she wants, and she's comfortable
My president.
with long. She's just fine with a long, uncomfortable silence. She's okay with that. She's okay with not having a conversation or dialogue with President Trump. She's still able to go work around him. She knows the government well enough to get things done.
But
Let's
this is a
take
little
it
bit
back
different.
to 2019,
Yeah.
January 2019, where Trump shut down the government for a month.
Right.
And got nothing.
Got
Got
nothing.
nothing.
Yeah.
Well, she held down. She held out, right? So, but now this is a little bit different because we have a coronavirus and a lot of people who are needing this money,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Can she really hold out now?
Well,
What
she had
what leverage
evidence.
does she have?
No, she had evidence that she passed the bill.
Correct. The House did pass their bill. The Senate could not agree.
Right.
So,
She passed the HEALS.
correct.
Yeah, she had something on paper.
No,
on
she
record.
passed
No,
the
the
HEROES.
HEROES Act. They
Yeah.
passed the
They
HEALS.
passed,
Yeah.
no, they did not pass.
They
the
didn't even
Well,
bring
they-
up.
that's
Yeah,
right.
they
They didn't even
couldn't
bring up the
agree on
it.
vote.
It
See,
comes on the
they didn't
vote,
even agree
right.
on it. So,
Right.
so there's her. We did something.
Right.
You guys didn't do it.
Right.
Correct. Not to mention the other 100 plus bills that are sitting on the
Mitch
desk
McConnell's
of
desk.
McConnell's desk, just sitting there.
So she can say, "Hey, we need the Senate. We can make Washington move. We need the Senate."
But it's still a stalemate because if it's sitting on his desk, either one, he's not taking it to the floor at 4 votes, right?
Correct.
And there's a lot of stuff Obama did, he didn't even take it to the floor.
Yeah.
It was like, I ain't worried about that, and it's probably still on his desk somewhere, or he tossed it after the
Yeah.
administration changed. But her thing is, if I need to get certain things done, we've done our job, right?
Right.
But it can't become law until the Senate agrees as well, and then on to the president.
Yes.
So McConnell is using that because he said, I don't care if these people get money or not. He does not care.
He
So-
does not. But what's different is, in the past, they have not used the media to their advantage.
The Democrats?
The Democrats have not.
Okay.
They have not, allowed the media to know exactly what they've done or
Okay.
what they're doing. And so it's very different right now because Nancy has been very, very strategic in terms of reporting. This is the status. This is where we are. We're not holding it up.
Right.
In fact, her calling everybody back for the post office
Right.
issue. That was her starting.
Right.
Well, then you see the Senate jumping ahead and doing their hearing first.
Yes.
Even though
Right. I
it was
noticed
the
that.
House who actually called people back first.
Well, yeah, they actually called people back to vote on the
That is correct.
$25 billion they were pushing.
Exactly.
And
But
the
then
Senate came up with 10.
Right, and then the Senate
know.
actually did their hearing that they did yesterday.
Friday.
That was
Yeah.
just a show.
Because the post office people are going to be in front of Congress starting
Absolutely.
tomorrow.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And then
then
Trump
do
got
another-
mad at what's his name, but saying, why would you have them come? Why would you agree to have them come during the RNC?
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
Yes.
Right.
So therefore, the Senate's trying to do as little as they can,
Right.
but they are now. It's Nancy's code, the way she's running the House.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
The Senate is now being reactive instead of saying we don't want to do anything.
Right.
So I guess the point I'm trying to make is, okay, what leverage does she have? Because like I said, McConnell's like, I don't really care. You know what I'm saying? He really does not care unless it's going to benefit the people that pretty much got him there, right?
Her leverage is a court of public opinion.
Yes, there is that. And,
And people
They-
are on the street.
they really need to start. I mean, I don't know what's happening in
Correct.
Kentucky right now. And I don't know what's happening in what's the other guy that's running? The other guy?
There's a lot of guys.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry.
I mean, I can say.
I keep thinking.
Arizona,
I keep thinking. No, Arizona. I keep,
McSally. I can say.
Yeah. It's another guy who's one of his flunkies that flipped. He flipped. He was actually Republican, but he was a matter of fact, he supported Kennedy. They were good friends.
McCain?
Not McCain. McCain too, but not McCain.
Oh, you mean Lindsey?
Lindsey.
Yes.
Oh.
Lindsey
Yes.
Graham.
Yes.
Lindsey Graham.
He's
Now,
got some pressure on him too.
yeah. So my thing is, based on what I'm understanding, is that okay? What Nancy said several weeks back. Okay, if they don't do this, they're going to regret it later. That sounds like a direct threat, right? Which means that you guys are going to want something that I'm going to say no to. So I'm thinking, honestly, I know the media is important, But I think that if he's constantly pumping out advertisement ads, he can talk to his people in Kentucky to get him reelected. He got enough money for that right now. And right now, people saying, well, everybody, I hear a lot of people saying that, well, he has all this money. He put all this money into his race. He's not going to be able to spread that money out to those other candidates. He don't give a flying flute. Because in his mind, yeah, those other people still got to win. But that's up to them to get it. You know what I mean? So he's saying, I'm looking out for me right now. Now, if I don't win, we don't win the Senate, at least I'm still a senator.
Yeah.
And that's what I guarantee that's what he's looking at. Even though
Absolutely.
he's only looking out for himself. So what leverage does Nancy have against a radical like him who really does not care? Because right now he holds the power. He can say, okay, I'm not passing no Senate bill. I don't care what you propose. Whether the people like it or not, you can go to the media and do what you want. I'm not budging. Because Barack Obama did the same thing. He did not budge. He didn't budge on a lot of stuff. And he was in front of the media, and a lot of other people was in front of the media too. Everybody on MSNBC was against, what he wasn't doing while Barack was president. It didn't work. So what leverage does she have?
I think people will go to the streets.
You think they will now?
Oh, yeah. With Black Lives Matter, I mean, that already showed us one key issue where people were not afraid to actually protest.
Yeah.
And so when you start affecting people, their basic livelihood,
Right.
they're going to the streets.
And
it's just a matter of time.
And I'll take it back to further, 2018. Every time there's a midterm, there's a referendum on the president.
It is.
When Obama lost the House.
Right. In 2010.
In 2010, after passing the Healthcare Act. It was already, the Republicans went on a media blitz saying this is wrong, this is evil, this is all this. And therefore the voters came in and said, no, we want to change.
And the same people who won in 2010 lost in 2012. The same House, they didn't lose the House. The Republicans didn't lose a House.
But they held on to it.
They held on to it. They just got new people to replace those people that didn't work out. Like they got West from Florida.
They got primaried.
The bow tie.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, he's now. Don't even get me started on him. But anyway,
We probably should.
He's the GOP chair of Texas.
Yep.
Is he?
Yes, he won.
He's in Texas.
He's here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Can he do that?
Yes.
They got to be living here for a while.
They voted him during the Texas GOP convention.
So that's one of their rules that anybody just want to switch and go to another state they can.
Well, they move here. Yeah. If they move if they move there, yes.
Wow.
That's how it works.
Wow.
If you move in the area you want to work in, yeah. He's
Just look at Romney. He's a Utah boy, but he was in.
He was in Michigan.
Yeah.
He was in Michigan
Massachusetts.
and then Massachusetts, and then boom.
Oh, he was in Michigan. His father was in
His
Michigan.
father was Michigan.
Yeah.
Governor of Michigan.
Yeah.
So, but going back to Nancy's leverage,
Right.
I mean, the writing's on the wall. There, she has looked, and she's constantly telling them, I'm working.
Right.
Look at what they're doing.
Right.
Nothing. They didn't even pass police reform.
Right.
They didn't. You guys are. We got a bill trying to give y'all money, and he's holding it up.
I don't hear that much, though. I don't hear it enough that would convince the people that I'm hearing complain about voting and all that stuff. I don't know. I mean, it could be, because I don't have the eyes on everybody.
The people that complain about voting don't watch television. They don't read papers. They don't listen to podcasts. They don't, they're not in tune to the news.
Right.
They're just complaining.
So let's go back to that. The complaints, the constant complaints. I think all you guys answered that question, right? What would you say if someone came up to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. There are a lot of young people who are just not into politics. At this event today, I asked the lady, could I do a plug? And I'm plug this show. And if you're watching, but can I plug the show? I plug the time. Go to KMWi-Media.com. Look at it, it's 7:30. We're talking politics. The room got quiet. Everybody kind of, what the hell is he talking about? I'm thinking they probably saying, I don't watch no politics, because everybody wants to talk about rappers and entertainers and singers and stuff like that. So, okay, so I'm not complaining,
Kanye
but
is gone, so
huh?
go ahead.
What?
Their hero Kanye is gone. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's another conversation. That's another conversation, because we did have a young lady say she's going to vote for Kanye. He's not even on the ballot. Can't even get in Ohio. So are you guys? Aya,
Yes.
my brother,
Yes.
the only brother other than me at this table. So you're saying that you mentioned that there's a couple of things you think is going to be on the new administration's agenda, right?
Yes.
What do you think is going to be his biggest struggle?
Biden's.
What's going to be his biggest struggle? Now, it ain't going to be much of a struggle if, the Democrats flip the Senate.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, how fast can we get it done? And really only have 2 years. You
The
think about
progressive wing, it would be his biggest struggle.
it. You think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
Kamala's progressive.
She's not progressive. She is.
Well, you're right.
Well, progressive in the original word of progress, but she's not progressive.
She's pretty moderate,
Yes.
like Obama was.
Yes.
Okay.
They're not going to pass. I mean, even though Kamala signed on to the New Deal.
Right.
I mean, I don't. The main fact that, and this is going back to Pelosi, the main person who signed on to the Green New Deal, she's trying to primary out. Out of Massachusetts.
Right.
She's endorsed the Kennedy kid
Right.
over the guy who signed the Green New Deal.
Okay.
So
So you got to explain what the Green New Deal is.
the Green New Deal is basically sort of like the New Deal, where it brings jobs, and it's very climate initiative based,
Okay.
where
So like solar versus coal
correct,
jobs.
yes, creating while saving the planet, but still everybody's making money, and being happy.
Okay.
But it's labeled as some socialist program,
Right.
which
Okay.
is not. So going back to what I'm saying, Biden's problem is if his main wing is not trying to hear the progressives, only trying to get them to the finish line,
Right.
they're going to want things now.
Right.
They're tired of being quiet.
Okay.
And so that wing will be his biggest struggle, assuming that he gets the Senate.
Right. Okay. So with that being said, here on We the People, we have a brand new segment. And Michelle, what is it called? That segment called?
It is called Facts and Feelings.
Facts and Feelings. Okay, so we're going to take a 1-minute break, and we'll be right back. And you guys will be on. Okay?
Cool. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to touch on something that, might have happened this week or might have spurred a thought and could spark some good conversations. So going back to the DNC, and seeing Obama, it kind of took me back to the good old days when he was president. It made me think of the first time I was truly introduced to Barack Obama, which would have been the 2004 DNC and his keynote. And one thing that always stuck with me from his keynote was one of the lines that he said, where it was about eradicating the slander that says a black youth with a book is acting white. And it made me think about how the media sees us, how we're portrayed in the media, how we portray ourselves in the media, how we act when we're with our own, and how we act when we're with others. And it also just kind of, made me really listen to Black folks that are in the media now. And it used to be like, if you were Black and you were on TV or on the news, you sounded a certain way, you looked a certain way. People could not be looking at the TV screen and they'd know, oh, that's a Black person talking. You don't get that now anymore. So I'm kind of wondering about, what are your thoughts on the code switch?
The code switch, the code switching. There was a book that I read a few years ago, and it's called Shifting. And it's written by a couple of psychologists, Charlene Jones and Camera Gooden. And in Shifting, she talks about how, particularly as Black women, how we go to work, we get up, we go to work, we talk to our kids, a certain way when we're getting ready in the morning. We do our Black speak, our mama speak. And then we go to the workplace and we shift into what I call, what we do, resume speaking.
Oh.
So
good morning.
Yes, we do our resume speaking. And then, we do that to make the other race comfortable.
Right.
And that's what's very different is we adjust. We make those adjustments. We do things differently to make them feel more comfortable.
And
but
it's unconscious too.
It's very
I
unconscious.
don't even notice anymore.
Right.
I kind of remember a time when I realized, oh, they're seeing me as an angry Black woman. I better check myself.
Absolutely.
And keep the smile on.
Right.
And now it's just.
Right. Exactly. Or we don't use our natural vernacular. Because we're afraid that they won't understand what we're talking about, or that we may sound too urban. Because urban is the new slang for them to be able to, talk about us without saying ghetto. But so in Shifting, she talks about that. How we do that, how we adjust ourselves for whatever audience we're talking to at that particular time, and how exhausting that can be for us as women, as people of color. So.
Well, it kind of ties into, I saw an article, it's like, Black don't crack on the outside. That all the pressure, like Black women have a lot more health issues because of just the stress of having to hold so many things together.
Absolutely.
And, that kind of makes me wonder, like, will there be a time where we can just be who we are all the time?
Absolutely.
And but I do think now that, with the greater exposure, I think that people are starting to realize that we're not just one monolith, that we're not all the same. And I think that we're also starting to see ourselves in a different way too, because, a lot of times, we consume media as well. We might think that we are a certain way based on what we see on TV too. So we have prejudices against ourselves as well.
Absolutely.
It's a really interesting world that we live in.
So what we got to learn to do is stop leaving our natural selves at the door.
Yeah.
That's good.
And making sure that we are being our true authentic selves, even outside of the home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not apologize.
And not apologizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So maybe that should be the new Black thing.
Not
Being
apologize.
unapologetic.
Yeah. Unapologetically Black.
Hey,
That's deep.
Yeah.
that is.
So let me ask you, ladies, based on your, thank you guys for that. That was pretty good. So how does it, because you guys call your segment Facts and Feelings, how does it make you feel when you have to make that adjustment? Or you feel, subconsciously, I guess you just subconsciously don't really feel it, you just do it. But when you recognize that I'm not being myself, I'm not being my authentic self, how does it make you feel?
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's truly exhausting.
Yeah.
It makes you tired. And not only that, if you have kids, then it makes you question, what am I representing to my children?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What am I teaching them?
What am I teaching them?
Right.
What am I teaching them about acceptance or lack of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
so
think
it's-
one thing though that comes with age, once I hit a certain age, I was like, I don't care what any of y'all think, and I
Guilty.
find myself less and less.
Yes,
I don't care what y'all think. You like me or not, I'm gonna
Exactly.
live. I don't care.
Exactly.
And and so I'm.
So being
I'm,
accepted is not the most important thing.
not really. I'm
Getting
gonna
the
do,
message out is more important.
Yeah,
right?
I'm gonna
So-
have my little nerdy proclivities and things that I like and
Right.
enjoy, and but it's what one fun thing though too, like with Facebook. So Aya introduced me to this Facebook page called Black Women Who Love Outdoor Spaces.
Oh God, yes.
I love to garden.
Have you?
I am in that page, and it was a family
You should see
reunion.
my patio.
Okay, I want to see your patio, girl. As soon as I got on, and I was like, "Thanks for the ad." One of my cousins in Nashville was like, "Hey, cousin," and then
Wow.
another cousin out in DC. I was like, hey, Pam's out here too. You know, so it's just really,
fabulous.
it is so cool. There are some amazing spaces. And, you know, it's like, who knew that we like gardening? I mean, it's like, what, is it 70,000 people on that page now? Like, it just,
it's
it-
a lot. And
yeah,
then
it just,
there's another page too. I'll have to.
Niches.
yeah.
With
Chalk
black
it up.
women who love indoor spaces.
Chalk it up for you.
Ooh,
So it's
yeah.
good to decorate. So I'll have to
Oh,
add
yeah.
to that one too. So
Send me an invite.
So-
get your pockets ready.
So, Sonia, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Since, I mean, you're in your industry, you're customer facing.
All the time.
Do you feel that you have to put on
I
that
have to be
facade?
on. Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
I am. Well, and it's a different facade because I'm customer facing. So
Right.
there's a whole different level of energy, you know, that
Okay.
you have to bring.
Right.
To
But
the
you still
service.
bring in yourself. You don't have to pretend too much. You just don't want to come across as threatening or urban. Or is it even in you to be that way?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. I'm thinking SMU graduate, you know.
Yes.
Okay.
I can go there.
Okay.
And I have gone there, even in my customer facing.
Wow.
And when I go there, they know not to mess with me. But
Okay.
yes, very few and far between do I have to do that.
Right.
But yes,
So at the end
do
of the
I
day,
push back? At
yeah.
the end of the day, yes, I try
Right.
to articulate
right.
and, you know, be positive
Mhm.
and, you know, approach it from an intelligence,
Right.
you know,
Mhm.
type of position as opposed to getting down raw and dirty.
See, for me, I mean, when I was in front of my clients, I mean, heavily in front of my clients,
Right.
and, you know, the people are making the decisions, I'm in the room with them.
Mm-hmm.
And they made the decision to have me there. So I was in a high visibility area, you know, where the executives are all around the table. I know that I can come off not urban, but pretty direct.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I have to adjust my tone because, you know, where there are some people that are glad that I'm there, but there's that one or two that say I don't belong.
Yeah.
They have the loudest voice. So those are the ones are listening to every word I say. You know, they'll look at my socks and make sure they match. They're looking that closely, you know. So I know at that particular point, there's pressure in the room.
Right.
You know, where there's one or two amongst the 13, 15 that's in the room, they have an ear. They got their ear.
If they're going to give ebonics, something like that.
They're just waiting for me to mess up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and then when I say something, they question everything. So I know that there are times when I'm frustrated walking in that conference room. I mean, I'm automatic because I know who's in there. You know what I mean? So I'm coming in there and I have to sit down and adjust and think about, because I got a piece on this presentation that's going to be up there. I got a piece. So I got to make sure, and what I'm about to say is not going to be pleasant specifically to those two people that are against me because of what they're not doing in their department.
Right.
That's what to contribute to the project I'm working on. So I had to, it was tough. I ain't gonna lie. It was tough because I had to go through it. I mean, a couple times I left and had to go to a quiet room so I could let the tears out because I'm holding it the whole time. And I'm frustrated because I know how this meeting is going to be, because one of my clients, they had this thing called Fun Fridays. Fun Fridays ain't nothing fun about it. It's a once a month meeting where the whole entire project comes together. This is executive meetings. All the project leaders and all the managers and even some of the line people, they're in this meeting, and all he's doing, the CEO, is just going to each person, what have you done? And that question I always ask people when I'm interviewing, how much money did your mistake cost us? And those are the type of critical questions they're asking. So I'm like, well, mine didn't cost none this time, but you know, a couple months back, you know what I'm saying? You wasn't asking that question then, so now I can get, I can bypass it. But it's that critical. So in those critical meetings, because he's not pulling no punches, great CEO, you know, and you like him because of his honesty, because you know he's going to be honest.
Yeah.
And if you play with it, he's going to pick you out, and for some reason he's going to really destroy you in front of everybody. So I remember one of the projects, well, the project I was on, the lady who was really against me handled the finance. So if I needed some money for the particular project, I had to write this voucher, I had to go through this approval process, blah, blah. But she had to approve it. And every time I would send it to her, say I needed $17,000 for a license, for a software license, she had to approve it. But she would reject it, saying I didn't put certain things in this approval document. Now, everybody can see it because it's up on SharePoint. Everybody can see the thing. But I knew I had to deal with her in that room because she felt that I should not be there. Her husband should have been in that role, right? We both competed for the same contract. It was ugly. It was bad. And she's the same one that's throwing my invoices back because she's saying the PO number changed and she wasn't going to accept it. So I was going in debt because, they change these PO numbers every 90 days. But anyway, make a long story short, I felt the pressure, and there were times that I just wanted to say, look, bitch, you've been doing a lot of underhanded bullshit. They don't know what you're doing, but I know what you're doing. I got the documentation to prove it. That's how I felt. So now I had to contain myself. Mm-hmm. And there were times, I swear to God, I was really in tears afterwards because I'm holding myself the whole time. And these are all-day meetings. This meeting starts at 7 a.m. and ends like about 11 at night. They went out and ordered us food. They don't want us to leave unless we go to the bathroom. They didn't want nobody leaving. We got a full auditorium, big giant conference room. And it was one of those rooms they have at a hotel where they had, it was one of those big ones they rented. And so we were there all day. And it was Fun Friday.
Hell.
Fun Friday was not Fun Friday. It's funny how they had to play on words with it, but it was called Fun Friday.
Yeah, 7-degree AC, trying to answer yourself. And
then you got to sit and wait till everybody go through their piece.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sometimes it depends on how big the projects were. This like some of those R&D people, research and development folks who are doing their piece, and they got the biggest budget. But if the project is $127 million, $100 million is theirs. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I'm like trying to figure out, wow, this is going to be tough. Because we're looking at all the documents, and you see when somebody screwed up when there was a holdup. And there's a 3-month delay on a project. They only got another year to go. So we're already behind because of this group. I'm just glad it wasn't me.
Yeah.
But you got to sit through it. While
you
the
CEO be the one with the
peels
target
it
on your
apart.
back.
Oh, I didn't hit the target that time. But I hit the target a couple of times. But I understand. Hey, you about to say something?
No, I was just saying, so now when you're done with it, how do you feel about it?
Say that. What's the question again?
Now, since that is all in your past, how do you feel about it?
Well, something, I will say this. Those hard times has prepared me for this. Because there's been some challenges. There has been. Patricia, no. There's been some challenges trying to keep this going. So it's prepared me for it, and I understand being on the other side of the table. So if I'm, say all of us, y'all were on my team and there was some issues, I'm going to take that same approach, but you're going to know something's coming before that meeting. So just be ready to answer.
Fair.
Okay,
Yeah.
so freshman politicians coming in.
Yep. Trial and error, baby.
Yeah, but do you feel now that do they have to? I don't think that stigma is there anymore.
What stigma are you speaking of?
I mean,
About
just
sitting back and waiting
yes,
and letting the senior politicians
yes,
drive the train
yes.
until
Oh, no.
the junior ones catch up and figure out what's going on.
correct.
Right.
I think about looking at AOC.
Mm-hmm.
She
Yeah.
She already knows what's
She already
going on.
knows.
She jumped right in because.
She did, but she rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
But you know something?
So,
You could expect that though.
absolutely.
I mean, from the thing. Okay, what's the guy, the congressman that died, Maryland Congressman Cummings put her on these committees.
Yes, he
Yes.
did.
And because he put her, he knew she was smart enough to deal with it. Usually, you don't get in the very first couple of months. You're on a
Yeah.
committee like that. She was on some pretty important committees where she had to speak out. She did great.
Yes, she did.
And so there came when she had to challenge Nancy.
Yes.
And I'm like, whoa, this thing went public. I know there's a whole lot of shit that happens that don't reach the media.
Yeah.
But this one did.
Right.
So I'm like, gosh, here's a woman, a minority woman. She's a junior congresswoman. She's going up against the person who's running the Congress, and she's publicly speaking out. Now, it makes you wonder, is she dumb or is she extremely smart? So I'm like, because this is politics. What you say matters. You know what I mean? And when you speak out against, so now I felt like, okay.
And Nancy being the old school, who's been in her role,
Right.
is like chain of command.
Correct.
You know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I believe in chain of command to a certain extent. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to go beyond the chain to get the message to the right people. But I believe in chain of command too. So, I can't remember all the details behind that situation, but you guys heard of it, right?
Yeah, ALC eventually backed down.
Yeah. But she answers
Because
to her
she knew she had to.
constituency.
Absolutely.
She had to. Right.
Right.
Because there are people in her
Correct.
district that are like, hold up, Nancy's been with us. You know what I'm saying? You can't doing this publicly.
Yeah.
And it's politics.
Right.
Words do matter.
Yeah.
Maybe we should change our slogan to words matter. Because it's important. Politics, everything we do is politics.
But it's personal, so that's why it's
Well, yeah.
works.
So you're right. It does work. Thank you. We'll get that to the original host that we had. She came up with that part. But anyway, so I think that, when we're dealing with politics through our daily lives, whether it's at work, if you belong to an organization, we have to watch what we say, how we say it, and who we're saying it to.
Yep.
I believe in this thing, and I know that she won't get pissed off when I say this. I believe in this thing called need to know.
That is a good lesson.
Oh my
That
God!
is
Thank
such-
you.
Because
Thank
I
you.
have a tendency to overshare because I want to make sure that I am covering everything because I feel like in my position
Patricia, just calm down. Calm down. Sorry. Go ahead.
that people might be looking at me closer. And so I want to make sure that all the facts are out there. And I have learned as I've moved through my career that, you know what? People don't need to know. If you need to know it, you can ask me. You ask for this info, I will give you this info. I'm not going to give you any extra
Yeah.
because that's just going to open up a whole nother can of worms.
There are some times when I play politics where I'll put something out that may not exactly be
Truthful.
accurate. Accurate, right? And I'm putting this out there because I'm setting the tone while I manage it. You know, it's going to come around. And if I put it out here now, all the details are not going to come out right. So I need to manage it better. So when I bring it out, it's not totally far off, but it's okay. Well, look, I made a mistake then. This information probably shouldn't went out with it, but this is what it is now, right? And I don't make a practice doing this all the time, but it has been occasions. So I want you guys, hey, nigga, you tell us why? What do you know? You know, it's not necessarily like that, but I believe you need to know. And I got that from working with some executives in HR, because you can't tell all the employees everything that's going on. You're held by secrecy, you know? So there were times where there was some complaints about management. I mean, I'm not handling the investigation, but I'm in the room with the HR management that's talking about these things. And it's like, we cannot let that manager know. And that manager come back asking questions. Well, who told on me? Well, who said this? Because you know, I had to interview him too. And I can hear the conversation in the next room. You know, well, who's saying it? He's shouting. You don't need to know that.
Yeah.
And you won't even know what happens from this unless it's going to impact you, right? But when that played in my head a lot, I said, then I realized that people told people too much information, and it caused an explosion. And so sometimes you got to play politics and know who you can talk to, what you can say, right, and how much of it.
Yeah.
So I got this from this executive. He said, well, there's a need to know. And that's how he would answer, there's a need to know, and right now, it's not for you.
Yeah.
We all do it. Don't we all do this? We don't call it that, but don't we do this? We don't. Y'all ain't gonna tell me every time.
It
y'all
starts-
do
everything.
It starts parental, and then
Okay.
it goes into chain of command.
But let me ask you a question, and getting us back on politics.
Don't interrogate me.
Do you think that Trump sometimes discloses too much information?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, he does.
And so do you think that his generals sometimes hold back information from him because
Absolutely.
they know
They learn to.
That he will blab it.
They learn to. Yeah. And if they're smart, they should.
Yeah.
Because we all know that, I mean, Trump, matter of fact, he's not even in the security briefings in the morning.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So because he runs his mouth. He gets on Twitter and start putting stuff out there because somebody says something in one of those national security meetings where the president's supposed to be doing this. And all of a sudden he's pissed because, hold up. You know, I'm talking like my guy.
Well,
hold up.
year one. He
I was
remember
gonna
he
say year
remember,
one.
remember
That's
the
right.
incident
Right.
with Kislyak,
Yep.
Yes.
the Russian
Yes.
Yeah.
ambassador.
Right.
You know, he was running his mouth. I was like you know
We're
how
not supposed to know that.
You know, yeah. You know how you're in a room with people, and then you get into another room, and then one of the people in your team is opening their mouth
Yep.
and becoming out of line. You
Yeah,
be
like-
like, and you get that look in your face,
Yeah.
like,
Be quiet. Yeah.
shut the
Yeah.
fuck up. You know,
Right.
that's exactly how we feel about Trump, and that's probably how the military feels about him.
Absolutely.
But Trump also has a tendency to take it and twist it
Absolutely.
and turn it around to either favor him or to bring some kind of glory to himself.
Right.
Yeah, he wants to be the one breaking the story.
Yes. So
And he wants to be the hero in the story.
Exactly.
Right.
So yeah,
We
he's
need to
not
have a
one
show
to
about
give
that
him.
one. We need to have a show about that type of behavior.
But you know, there's something that got in my mind. I'm trying to, you know, pivot away from Trump, back to the house, because you know Trump is all around us. But anyway,
He's in the air.
you know, coming to the next cycle, our top 3 leaders in the House are we over 80.
Who are they?
It's true.
Pelosi.
Pelosi.
She's over 80?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
thought
No.
she was like 77.
Nah, she rocking it. She rocking 80.
Okay.
Pelosi. Yeah.
Auntie Maxine. How old is
Maxine Waters. But
She's that old?
she's 80.
Yeah.
Yeah. In
She
fact,
came in the early 90s.
in fact, there's
She came in late.
yeah.
Wow, okay.
Okay, make that 4 because the other one is Steny Hoyer. He's
Okay.
the majority whip. Oh no, minority whip, and then Clyburn, he's over 80 too.
Oh, I forgot about him. South Carolina, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
yeah, they have to pass that torch. Like if like it's like now or never. If they don't pass that torch properly in the next cycle, we're gonna have more long-term
Who
problems.
do you think is going to be Nancy's successor?
Ooh. Damn.
Well, I mean, the committee has to vote them in, right?
Well, yeah. Well, the way it works every cycle, they have to vote the leader. Because the last cycle, Tim Ryan from Ohio,
Oh, that's right.
you know, he tried to run for president too. He ain't really on that. He means well. Anyway, so the successor, I don't know who has that kind of pull in the House other than, you know, the
Nancy.
young one, the young freshman.
Yeah.
So I don't
But
have
maybe
a
that's
name.
okay.
Yeah,
Like someone like AOC?
Yeah.
but no, that's too early for her to lead.
Yeah.
She ain't ready to lead.
She ain't ready to lead yet.
She ain't ready to lead because she has to manage people.
Where's is Feinstein?
No, she's a
He's
senator,
a senator.
and she's over
She's
80.
up
She
there,
got to
too.
go too.
Mm.
California gonna have some new 2 senators by the next cycle.
Yeah.
And then lost Kamala.
Yeah, but the House,
They got
I'm
Cory
looking at.
Booker in
I'm
the Senate.
thinking it's gonna either be, and I don't think it's right. I think it's gonna be the guy who oversaw the impeachment in the House.
Oh, Schmidt. What? No, what's his name?
Um,
Schmidt. Is his name Schmidt?
No, he's a California lawyer.
Attorney.
Yes.
Yeah, the
He's-
one that. Yeah.
He's always in front of the camera.
Yeah.
No, that's Schumer. That's
No,
Senate.
that's new. That's Senate. No,
No.
It's. I know you're talking about.
Yes, if you guys
Okay.
can find his name, whatever. But anyway, he's the one oversee the House.
I can see him doing that though.
Yeah,
I really
so,
can.
So yeah, so he might lead
He's
it.
pretty smart too.
And then think of all the people who were leading that impeachment thing.
Right. The black woman that ran for president.
Demings,
Yeah.
the
Other guy.
Hakeem Jeffries.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to think all those lawyers are going to be tried.
So the folks from the Judiciary Committee.
Yes, except
Okay.
for Nadler. He's
Oh.
gone. He's on the way. He's old. I don't know how he's living. I really don't.
He's up there. He looks up there.
He looks like he's gonna croak the next month.
They said about Biden. They said about Biden. Biden ain't gonna make it through his term. Oh, he's not gonna make it. That guy is sharp.
he proved that by bicycling and running his car. Like
Yeah.
he's fully functional.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, but yeah, there's gonna be a fight there. Taking the reins. Not this cycle will be the
Right.
last Pelosi run. Like
Okay.
she was gonna be gone the last year, but this whole Trump thing
Right.
changed it up. So I don't have a leader. I don't have a leader yet.
So maybe we should come up with that. Be something we can give the people the next couple of shows.
Yes, because there are gonna
try
be
to-
some factions.
Yeah. So with that being said, I think our final segment of the show, we should do what we always do every week:
Hmm.
encourage people to get out to vote.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I think
Go
we need to
vote.
drive that home. So since we did see the convention, that was pretty much one of their messages. Everybody unified. So let's go around the room and let's tell the people why it's so important, to just get out and vote.
It changes the course of America when you vote. That one vote affects not only your life, it affects your neighbor's life, and it affects your whole community. If you don't put your name in that decision, you still screwing everybody up because they don't know where you stand. And that's why voting is important.
Okay, Sonia?
Voting is important because we have ancestors who gave their lives so that we could have the right to put an X in a box. And if they thought it was important enough to, sacrifice like that, we owe them that, if nothing else.
And we owe it to ourselves too, right?
We owe it to ourselves too, but primarily, we owe them.
Okay, Michelle?
What Sonia said, but also your vote counts. It does count. It makes a difference, no matter what you think. It makes a difference, and you got to vote like your life depends on it, because right now it does.
It does.
So I'm gonna close with this. What I started out reading earlier when we first started this show, I read a preamble based on the documentation you gave. It just came from you, brother. There's one thing that's on the ballot that hasn't been on the ballot that I can remember in my lifetime, which is the most important, which I just read earlier. Character's on the ballot this election. It's about character. So no matter who people vote for, vote character. I mean, it's not necessarily who represents me, because the person with character will represent you and they'll work for you. But I think that we need to vote for the people the group that has the character. So with that said, we will see you guys next Thursday. You guys are here next Thursday, right?
Yep.
Okay, we'll see you guys next Thursday.
You mean
guys
next
gonna be a
Sunday?
Labor Day?
Sunday.
Oh, did I say Thursday?
Yes, the Sunday.
Why am I
Sunday.
thinking? Okay.
Sunday
We'll see
at
you guys-
7:30
There you thank you, Ann.
Central
Thursday.
time.
Where does Thursday come from? Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. Every Sunday at 7:30 Central Time, log in to KMWi-Media.com, or you can see us on Facebook at KMWi-Media. So we will see you guys next Sunday at 7:30. Peace out. Thank you, Patricia.